No one truly knows what horrors and tribulations the Chaos Dwarfs had to endure to end up turning their backs to their ancestors. It is believed that in the darkest of hours, when their chances of survival were at their lowest, the dwarfs made a solemn oath of allegiance to a dark being known as Ashen, the Father of Darkness, in order to protect themselves from the onslaught of chaos and the myriad horrors that were brought down upon them. They started down a road that would ultimately lead to their damnation. Alas, even with their inherent resistance to the corrupting forces of chaos, this race has succumbed to its insidious grasp and plunged into the abyss of depravity. The once noble dwarfs have tragically undergone physical alterations over time, and their use of magic has only served to further twist their minds and bodies. In this episode, we will explore the Black Fortress, a dreaded and terrifying structure that serves as an ominous symbol of the corrupt essence and malevolent might of the Chaos Dwarfs. Located in the unforgiving and barren wasteland known as the Darklands, the Black Fortress stands as a grim reminder of the Chaos Dwarfs' malevolent deeds and a stronghold against the savage entities and mercenary factions that roam the area. We will also learn about the Infernal Guard, the Lord of the Black Fortress, and the demonic Bale Taurus that he rides into battle. The Black Fortress is a massive, jagged castle guarding the southeast borders of the Chaos Dwarf realm, and it is turned black by the volcanic fires of the rocky plateau it stands on. Burning magma acts as the lifeblood of this hellish landscape of soot, blackened iron, and jagged rock. The immense walls of the stronghold are mostly made from enormous slabs of obsidian, and they tower over the desolate landscape while throwing a menacing shadow across the surrounding territory. The structure itself is an extension of the cruel and twisted aesthetics of the Chaos Dwarfs, blending elements of brutalism and black wizardry to create its distinctive look. The numerous towers of the fortress, which are decorated with gruesome sculptures and tall spikes, appear to stretch towards the heavens. The sheer scale and height of these walls make scaling or breaching them a nearly insurmountable challenge. Furthermore, the walls are reinforced with metal elements, making them resistant to even the most powerful siege weapons. But how was that this gigantic, yet terrible structure came into being? How was it built? For developing and expanding, the Chaos Dwarfs use countless slaves to carry their will and do all the dirty and heavy work, and with the blood and sweat of numberless slaves from across the world was this terrible structure built. Slaves from a variety of species including human, orcs, elves, goblins, ogres and more are brought up from all over the world by the Chaos Dwarfs as spoils of war, and then the overseers make them work under the constant threat of being punished. These miserable beings are forced to toil in the cruelest of environments, contending not only to the harsh terrain and unforgiving climate of the Darklands, but also with the brutality of their masters. Throughout the course of the construction process of the Black Fortress, the slaves were accountable for a wide range of tasks. Massive blocks of building material were extracted from the neighbouring volcanic mountains, moved to the construction site, and then hoisted into position with the use of heavy machinery. In addition, the slaves were sent to work in the forges, where they crafted metal reinforcement of architectural elements and sculpted the grotesque sculptures that grace the walls of the stronghold. The Chaos Dwarfs' development of the Black Fortress was a colossal endeavour that reflected both their limitless ambition and their mastery of both engineering and black sorcery. The fortress was built over the course of several years, using the combination of the labour of thousands of enslaved workers and the craftsmanship of the most skilled Chaos Dwarf craftsmen and sorcerer prophets. The Black Fortress stands tall as a symbol of their lofty goals. It is believed that during the structure's construction process, the sorcerer prophets carried out a great number of rites and incantations, which allowed them to infuse the very stones of the stronghold with their dark will, which was further powered by their newly found powers as magical users. Hashut, the father of darkness, was with them, and because of these sinister enchantments, the fortress was not only able to withstand the test of time, but it also became a stronghold of evil power, from which the Chaos Dwarfs were able to exert their dominance in the region and over the rest of the world. The internal structure of the Black Fortress is a complex maze that consists of winding passageways, enormous halls, and gigantic vaults. It is home to a number of workshops, which are where the Chaos Dwarfs, who are known for their prowess as artisans and engineers, construct hellish war engines and make weapons capable of heavy destruction. In addition, the stronghold is home to gigantic slave pens, where countless individuals of all races are forced to toil under the watchful eye of their ruthless masters, for the slaves are the cogs that keep the evil furnaces and malign factories running. Black clouds of smoke can be seen from across the dark lands, while the incessant hammering of tools and the screams of slaves and prisoners are heard all day and night, as one gets closer and closer to this terrible place. But mainly, and above all else, the Black Fortress serves as a military outpost for the Legion of Asgore. This is a powerful and fearsome military force that can play a crucial role in maintaining the dominance of the Chaos Dwarfs in the Black Fortress and the region. They are the ones that keep the fortress well guarded from intruders. They patrol the desolate regions of the southern Darklands. They protect the far-flung slave caravans of Chaos Dwarfs travelling through the howling wastes, and act as a strong defence against the frequent invasions of ogres, orcs, and other hostile creatures that come from the east. The numerous dark tunnels and halls situated in the depths beneath the Black Fortress are home to the Infernal Guard. The ranks of the notorious Infernal Guard are filled with Chaos Dwarfs who have some sort of stain of dishonour or failure attached to them. This can be the result of simply being close kin to a failed battle commander, knowing defeat in the front of the eyes of a sorcerer prophet, presiding over slaves who have revolted, or a furnace that has exploded due to overuse. In their unforgiving society, any of these things can result in dishonor. The shame of such a dishonor is more than the proud Chaos Dwarfs are able to withstand, and for them, joining the Infernal Guard offers the consolation of death in Hashut's grace, as well as anonymity, as upon taking its oath, their names and previous kinships are shorn away, and their faces are sheared and sealed behind red-hot iron and bronze masks. From then on, their fate is to fight in an endless conflict against the unspeakable horrors that reside in the dismal wastes that are located nearby. This is a regimen that only the most resilient individuals are able to put up with, and only the strongest survive. The masks will be ripped off the redeemed warriors only if they achieve great glory, at which point the flesh of the redeemed warrior will be revealed to the rest of the mortal world. Their skin charred and their faces heavily deformed by that point. The Infernal Guard have to take the oath of defending the citadel to the death from any who would assail it, and to carry out the will of the Lord of the Black Fortress without question. But who is the Lord of the Black Fortress? By many accounts and witnesses, this has been confirmed to be none other than Drazhoath the Ashen. This sorcerer prophet was exiled from Zarnagrund, the capital city of the Chaos Dwarfs, a very long time ago. But with the use of his resilience, intelligence and inventiveness, he not only survived the harsh elements of the lands, or the many wild beasts that wanted to outright eat him, he also grew to become the all-powerful Lord of the Black Fortress. Because of his power, he was able to obtain dominion over the Legion of Asgore, which is a highly disciplined and coordinated force, known for its effective use of combined arms tactics. With this army, he is able to eliminate anything and everyone who threatens his realm. Drazhoath often leads his powerful army in raids across the Dark Lands and the vicinities of the Black Fortress to maintain his dominion over these monster-infested areas. In combat, Drazhoath is both formidable with the axe and with the arcane winds, and he does this while leading his armies as an effective leader. He oftentimes rides on top of Cinderbreath, a huge bale Taurus that takes the form of a large winged bull and is a terrible being formed of metal, ash, and fire. Drazhoath travels around the land atop his beast, which is renowned for the immense and terrifying power it possesses. This otherworldly creature gives its full and undivided attention to serving its master, to the exclusion of anybody else, and exacts a heavy toil from its opponents. When struck, the skin of the Bale Taurus burns with such fury and heat that it causes blades and axes to melt and lose their edges. This makes it nearly impossible to inflict any damage on the creature, at least by conventional means. It is important to note that, to the relief of the vast majority of inhabitants of the world, the Great Tauruses, being composed mainly of fire and ash, are unable to travel far from the Dark Lands, except during times when the winds of magic are at their strongest. This is because no other region is so permeated by the power that maintains them, known as the Firewind. The Black Fortress's labyrinthine layout and cunningly placed defences, such as hidden traps and choke points, further enhance its impregnability. Any invaders who manage to breach the outer walls or infiltrate from underground would quickly find themselves lost and disorientated within the fortress's twisting corridors, while the elite troops of the Legion of Asgore stand ready to repel any intrusion. This happened to the goblin known as Rufak Shroomsniffer, a prominent shaman that had accumulated many victories in his lifetime, and had amassed a respectable number of followers who were accustomed to having great battles under his command. The cunning goblin shaman led a group of night goblins and savage orcs in a daring sneak attack on the Black Fortress, hoping to exploit a hidden weakness in the seemingly impenetrable stronghold of the Chaos Dwarfs. The Goblin Force, skilled in stealth and subterfuge, made their way through the treacherous terrain of the Dark Lands, evading the watchful eyes of the fortress's sentries. Upon entering the fortress, through a secret passage, the Goblin Force found themselves in a vast subterranean tunnel, illuminated by the menacing glow of molten lava that flowed through the area. The air was thick with heat, and the roar of gigantic machinery echoed throughout the cavernous space. Confused and disorientated by the labyrinthine interior, the goblins wandered deeper into the heart of the fortress. By then, through his magical potency, Rufak Shroom Sniffer had given his spider pet a smelly shroom to eat. Its magical capabilities allowed the beast to grow tremendously in size, until it became a massive mount to ride on. Also, he summoned a giant rogue idol put together by barely controlled raw magic. How many shrooms did Shroom Sniffer had to sniff to be able to summon this particularly large monster was unknown, but with the protection of it, they advanced through the giant tunnel. Quickly enough, and with ruthless efficiency, the Chaos Dwarfs mobilized their forces and prepared to confront the intruders once they were discovered. The Infernal Guard formed a solid battle line, their fire glaives at the ready. The bull centaurs were positioned to strike with devastating force, while heavy artillery unleashed hellish fire on the greenskins. The ferocious melee clash unfolded in the oppressive heat of the subterranean tunnel. Amid the chaotic noise of clashing weapons and guttural war cries, the close combat raged on with a brutality befitting the dark nature of the Chaos Dwarfs and the brutality of the greenskins. Despite the ferocity of the greenskin assault and the use they made of crazed goblin fanatics, the Infernal Guard stood their ground, their unwavering discipline and loyalty to Hashut driving them to meet the enemy head-on. The greenskins, driven by their primal rage and desire for bloodshed, threw themselves again and again at the Chaos Dwarf lines with reckless abandon. Orcs swung their crude choppers and massive fists, attempting to smash through the sturdy armor of the Infernal Guard, while goblins, armed with sharp spears and jagged knives, darted in and out of the fray, seeking to exploit any openings in the Chaos Dwarfs' defense. The Chaos Dwarfs unleashed hails of fire-glaive shots, cutting down many goblins as they scrambled for cover. As the battle raged on, the casualties mounted on both sides, but the disciplined ranks of the Chaos Dwarfs ultimately proved too much for the greenskins' raw ferocity. After taking more than its fair share of heavy fire and suffering the dwindling energies of the magic holding it together, the rogue idol fell to the ground lifeless. A monster no more, but simply a group of heavily cracked rocks. Rufak Shroom Sniffer, the goblin shaman, realizing the battle was lost, attempted to flee, but was ultimately cornered and captured by the relentless Chaos Dwarfs. In the aftermath of the battle, the Legion of Asgore emerged victorious. Having ruthlessly quashed the goblin incursion, hundreds of orc and goblin prisoners, including the cunning goblin shaman, were taken in chains to the fortress's slave pens, where they would be forced to endure a lifetime of torment and servitude under the brutal rule of their Chaos Dwarf captors. With the Black Fortress once more secure, the Chaos Dwarfs reaffirmed their dominance in the Dark Lands and demonstrated the futility of challenging their impenetrable stronghold.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative Total War cinematic battles and Warhammer lore videos. A special thank you goes to our Patreon supporters who help us in the making of more content. You can also join Patreon and earn extra perks while supporting the videos to come. Find the link in the description below. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.